Let's do a little
4,
exercise.
1,
Element 115, essentially non-existent.
3, 4.
And he told police he was able to time travel because aliens filled his body with, you guessed it, alcohol.
I've been thinking about shaving my butt lately.
And why on earth would you do that?
Well, all right. So I'm normally like a hairy guy, and I'll do the minimum of nose hair because nose hair, like cosmetically, yeah, you don't want that if it makes it itch, but it protects you from debris that you're breathing in. It's like a natural protectant.
Really
I don't
important
think-
right now.
I don't think butt hair is doing anything for me.
It's
Okay,
catching
so like, are
doo-doo
you talking
particles.
like, you know, like how much of like what percentage of your butt? Are you talking all the way to the cheeks? Or are you talking
In the business end.
You did the whole gap.
Oh, okay.
I've been thinking
All right.
about it. I haven't done anything, but I've been thinking about it a lot.
Gotcha. And you're gonna wax. You're gonna like. Are you just
No, this would
weighing all
just
the
be
options?
this would be home shaved. I can't commit to anything fancy.
How do you
like
deal
that.
with the itch?
I don't know. I've never done it.
How are you going to see what you're doing?
Good luck and Godspeed.
Mirrors. Just like a magician.
Mirrors? How many? You said mirrors plural. How many mirrors?
Enough to get the sun in, like they did with the pyramids.
A series of 5 to 6 mirrors.
Did you have the staff, like in Indiana Jones, too, to find
Yes.
the right
You
location?
have to like turn it counterclockwise, like 90 degrees.
Oh, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, welcome. We are the Beasty Boys, no relation.
I wish we could rap. That'd be cool.
I mean,
Well, I mean, have you ever tried?
Well, maybe you can. Yeah, I can. I don't have a rhythmic
I've tried.
bone in my body.
I've tried at least.
Yeah, I've actually heard you too. Mike does too, right?
None of your business.
So yeah, hey, this is canonically. I like saying. I'm just gonna say canonically in my everyday life all the time. This is episode 3, and you know, we're gonna dig deep into a different subject this time, and it's going to be ghosts.
Spooky.
Spooky ghosts.
Spooky ghosts.
Anyone watch any ghost movies lately? Any ghost movies or anything like that? Or like when you think ghost movie, what do you think of? You know, like
Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
me too.
I gotta say, that's a good movie. I can't believe I watched that as a kid. That scene
Same.
where that dude gets the glass pane through himself
it's
is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome though. I like
It's a
it.
good
I
movie.
like Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. You know, I feel like Patrick Swayze is such a underrated actor in the male sort of perspective. Like, you meet a lot of guys, right? They associate Patrick Swayze with like one movie, which is like Dirty Dancing, and they're like, "Oh,
Roadhouse, dude.
I don't like Patrick Swayze." Yeah, exactly. But like Roadhouse is not a good movie, but Roadhouse is a phenomenal adventure to watch with yourself and a bunch of friends and enjoy. And Ghost is a really good movie, right? And he just has a great filmography. So I feel like he's severely underrated, and there needs to be more Patrick Swayze appreciation.
Yeah,
Well,
He's
is this a
taken too
Patrick
soon.
Swayze podcast now? So
No, I don't know. He just got me on
it's
the
still
topic.
early enough to pivot.
Well-
No, I'm not against it. I don't have enough information. I don't know if we all have Patrick Swayze stories to tell. What if
Yeah,
all of us did? I
I
saw him at a
just-
laundromat once.
Is Mike
Mike, when was the
frozen?
last time you saw Patrick Swayze? Oh, Mike is frozen.
Mike is frozen.
Aw,
Yeah, he is. Unless he's like still playing us.
he might be playing the game.
I don't know. I'd be really impressed.
You okay, Mike?
I hope so.
I mean, he's probably fine. I think he's fine. I
Yeah.
just think
Your
that the
computer okay.
connection isn't great. Yeah.
All right, looks like we're okay now. You good, Mike? Everything look all right?
I hope so.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So, yeah.
we're back. Right.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where we lost Mike, but
Yeah, I think I know I asked Mike if he had any personal Patrick Swayze stories because I'm sure he has at least one.
No, he was
Oh.
kind of off my radar. Even Roadhouse wasn't good enough. I was way more into like Seagal and
That's fair. That's fair.
JCVD.
No, yeah,
during
he's a
those
good one. He's a
days.
good one.
Steven Seagal is a true ghoul. That guy is a straight up ghoul.
Like in real life?
Yeah, he's a ghoul. He's a weird dude. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on him and how weird he is.
You got to watch Rob Schneider's stories. He goes
yes.
on.
Yeah.
He goes on. I think Howard Stern 2 or 3 times, and he tells Patrick Swayze
Steven
he
Seagal.
tells Seagal stories because I guess he was in a few movies with him, and they're some of the best stories I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pull that up after.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Everybody Google that.
But yeah, Ghost is an awesome movie. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
I
awesome. I haven't seen it in quite
hard
some
to
time.
disagree. In fact, I'd say.
Whoopi's great.
Whoopi, yep. The bad guy is awesome. He's a total creep.
Oh,
Bad
absolutely.
guy in that movie?
I always forget his name, but he's the bad guy in Last Action Hero.
Yes, same guy.
Yeah, but that guy's he looks like a ghost without makeup on.
Yes. Yeah,
He's
it's
very
like, and
creepy
he
looking
scared
dude.
me so much as a kid.
Yeah, I think he actually just passed away a couple years ago. So now he's a real ghost.
You know what used to freak me out in that movie was
What's that?
the homeless ghost guy in the subway.
The subway ghost?
Yeah,
Yes.
that guy
Vincent
used to
Schiavelli.
freak me out when I was young.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that was the creepiest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're talking about ghosts today.
We
Yeah.
are.
If you couldn't tell,
Ghostface Killer, right?
Ghost
We're
Face
just
Killer.
gonna talk
Anything
about
to do
Ghost
with ghosts.
Protocol.
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost BC. We just
I
keep
stand in
naming them.
Action King.
Ghost World.
What where do we stand on ghosts? Like who here?
Not,
believes?
they're not corporeal. You can't.
You can't believe them.
He's saying you can't stand on him.
Right.
Your legs go through 'em.
Yeah, he's right. Technically speaking, since a ghost is
God damn it,
incorporeal, you can't have physical contact with it. Although it can break the rules sometimes and have physical contact with you, which freaks me out. So technically, a ghost could stand on you, but you can't stand on the ghost.
What? How is that fair?
Don't
It's
tread
not.
on me, ghosts.
It's not. Ghosts are OP and broken and need to get nerfed. Real bad.
He
I'm
says
serious.
From,
Bold
Hideo
statements.
Kojima.
he says from
his
the comfort
BTs.
of his well-lit room
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
with the sun shining outside, he says with defiance into the air.
Wait for the
Ghost
sun to
Face.
set.
His opinion changes. Once dusk hits, Mitch's opinion starts to change. You know, I think ghosts are the most underrated.
Did you say ghost?
Oh,
Honestly, you're not too far off. Ghosts freak me the hell out.
Do you have
that's the
any
fun of it.
You believe in him?
I live by the rule. If you ever heard of
Great start.
Occam's razor, I live by the rule of Mitch's razor, which is that basically the easiest solution to the idea that ghosts exist is to admit that you don't know, but you should probably act as you do. I also call it Mitch's wager, which is basically in order to live a fulfilling life with the fact that ghosts could be real, you're better off acting as ghosts are real and preparing accordingly, even because if they aren't real, then all you did was waste your time, but if they are real, you're prepared. Whereas if you live your life not believing in ghosts and then all of a sudden they turn out to be real, well, guess who's not prepared, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Mitch's razor, a.k.a. Mitch's theorem?
Wager.
What was it?
Mitch's wager.
Wager,
In tribute
okay.
to the philosopher Pascal in Pascal's wager.
And not to be mistaken with Razor's Edge.
No, not to be mistaken with that either. But yeah, ghosts freak me out. One of the main reasons why is I'm a pretty primitive person when it comes to how I deal with things that scare me, right? So like,
You just use fire?
well, yeah, fire and the weapons that nature gave me, right? So
my goodness.
here's the thing. Here's what I'm
I
saying,
thought you
right?
said you can't interact with
Like scare. Well, yes,
wow.
we're getting to that. We're getting to that, right? So, with horror movies and stuff, like all the horror movies that are like slasher villains and crazy psychopath, like that doesn't bother me, right? Because there's a chance if that guy came after me, it might only be a small chance, like a 5% chance, I could kick that guy's ass, right? But with a ghost, I ain't gonna be able to punch a ghost. That's scary. The ghost comes at me, I'm gonna swing and a miss. What am I gonna do after that?
You tell me. What are you going to do?
I don't. Honestly, I'd probably poop myself and die.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
that is escalates quick. What if it's like
I
what if
die
it's
from
like a
fright.
Casper? What if it was just a ghost trying to give you a hug?
I'd still probably die from fright.
What a way to go! You'd be
Yeah,
like,
no.
oh,
Are all ghosts bad? Like hot
No.
hot topic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we got
Hot
good
topic.
ghouls. They sell ghost shirts.
You want to get a cool ghost shirt? Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
So we got good ghouls and bad ghosts, and I mean, what if he's nice? Why would you want to fight him right off the bat, bitch?
Well, it's just
And we're opening up-
it's a natural defensive instinct, you know, that like something that could be malevolent is coming at me. I don't know. What do you want me to stop and ask the scary ghost how his day is going and gauge if he's a nice guy or not?
has anyone tried?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Sorry, Mitch.
ghosts are haunting us because no one's asked them how they're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop you dead in your tracks there.
Okay. Well, you know, maybe I'll maybe I'll reconsider. But I got bad news in that I probably won't. So that's where I stand on ghosts. Ghosts terrify me. What about you guys?
We'll leave it up to the audience. Are ghosts problematic? Reach us at beastyboysparanormal@gmail.com. And do ghosts have a place in the new country?
In
In
2020.
2020.
Are ghosts allowed?
Yeah.
I absolutely believe in ghosts. I've had ghost experiences.
Personal ones.
I'm
You've
pretty
seen-
pretty certain that they're around. But I'll start where it all started. I grew up in this old house built in like the mid 1800s in Massachusetts. And there was a story when I lived there that the house was struck by lightning. The guy was in the basement. He was in like some sort of, like the basement was flooded or something like that. The house got struck by lightning. He was killed, and he died in that house. And the entire time, I probably lived in that house from 5 years old till 18. I believe that house was haunted. There was always weird noises, and things were moving in different places, and that just kind of set the tone for me. I absolutely believe in ghosts because of that. It was creepy, and it's probably just my imagination running away with it. But I believe that there's some sort of energy out there. That house is haunted. It should burn to the ground. It was also right next to a cemetery, so that also added to the.
The house
belief in
burnt to the
ghosts.
ground, or you were saying burn the house to the ground?
It should be burnt to the ground.
Okay.
It's too
With the
old.
with the family that lives in there now? My gosh.
Nah, you can get them out.
Yeah,
of
come
there,
on,
but-
Jarvis. How come
because
I
of-
get in trouble for wanting to fight a ghost, but here you are just wanting to go burn down houses?
They're
Wow,
harboring
you're
a
so-
ghost.
Yeah,
So-
they're harboring a ghost, so they're just as guilty as the ghost. Also, I left a lot of ghosts of the food I ate over the 14 or 15 years that I lived there, so that's also adding to it.
Oh my goodness! Our farts ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts of our food.
I mean,
I
if
know
you
you
really
roll
think
your eyes,
about it,
but think about it.
if you really think
It's a
about it,
changing. It's a
I hate
changing
this.
of the matter. It's a changing of the matter.
Hmm.
It is a. It turns solid substance
yeah.
through the process, through a physical process, much like death is,
Mm-hmm.
into a non-material form.
Is
But
this
there's
like a-
still remnants. I've never thought about this before.
This
and I
is
find
like
it
someone's
very
stand-up
interesting.
bit. This is like a bit. This is. Jarvis, have you heard this somewhere before? Is that
No.
why you
I've
said
heard.
it?
No,
Oh, okay.
Nick Swardson has a farting ghost bit. But my question
Okay,
is:
okay.
Are farts actually the spirits of the food that you ate?
Sure, I get it. I get your question.
Well, I suppose you could consider them a spiritual essence in a way.
Yeah. Why isn't more people talking about it?
Well,
they're
we're
scared.
starting it. We're gonna
Yeah.
start a dialogue
This
somewhere.
is
you know?
this is honestly the first time I've ever heard such a suggestion, Mike. So you got to give me like a day or two to comprehend it all. You know?
Yeah, he's got to sleep on it. You know.
Yeah.
Jarvis, do you have
So
any
maybe
like
this is like a
recordings?
reoccurring segment.
Of what? My farts?
The spirits that you left. You said you're the one who said it. The reason I'm even thinking about this is because you said that you left the ghosts of a
You
lot of
inspired
your
a whole
meals
ideology.
in that house.
Oh. Yeah, no, I don't have any recordings, unfortunately. But there's definitely some residue of ghost farts in that house. I mean, you lived there for 15 years. You're going to blaze
Sure.
some farts while you're living there.
You're not wrong.
Of course.
Yeah. So this begs the question, do ghosts smell like farts?
Why would they?
I don't know.
I've heard that ghosts will have a smell, or ghost encounters will often
Have a lingering odor.
correlate to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
it smell like?
I think it depends on the person. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a consistent ghost smell.
From what I gather, it depends on like the ghost itself. Like, if you see like a ghost of like, an old timey guy from the 1920s, you're gonna smell his cologne, right?
Yeah, cigarettes.
Yeah, or something like that. Exactly.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah. Where someone will have an encounter, or they'll claim that their house is haunted, especially here in New England. There's a lot of old buildings, and a lot of people will say, in addition to that, there's no smokers in the house, but they will get a whiff of tobacco or something else. And then you find out that there was, the guy that used to live here was smoking 10 packs a day trying to build the pool in his basement when he got struck by lightning.
10 packs a day. 200 cigarettes a day.
They went hard. They went hard back in the day.
That's impressive.
That is
No,
impressive.
what I would in order to smoke that many, I would assume you wouldn't even be like finishing the cigarettes in order to like, because if
No,
you were
it's mostly about
finishing
look.
all of them, I don't think you could even accomplish that by the rate that a cigarette burns in a period of 24 hours.
Yeah, so
But
even
you
if you're awake for 20 hours, that's 10 cigarets an hour, right? And like
Yeah.
that means you need to be only sleeping 4 hours a night. So
Exactly.
you're
Could be
awake for
smoking multiple at once.
You-
They
oh,
have,
you
like,
could be.
Oh,
five
you
at
could
a
be.
time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but those guys who like always will put on a fresh pair of Nikes like every single day. They only wear the Nikes once and they get rid of them. Same thing. So maybe there's a guy who only smokes
One
drags
drag.
of a cigarette, and then he gets rid
I
of
like
it.
this.
That's
4
how I'd
cigarettes
smoke
at once?
cigarettes.
Hell yeah.
You don't start at 20 packs a day, but you get there,
Yeah, you work your way there.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
and then you die at the age of 30, and you're a ghost.
That's one that smells like cigarettes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there is also, a lot of rational explanations for these experiences people have. So one might say that there was a smoker that at one point lived in the house and that had stained the wallpaper or even the crystalline tobacco or whatever the hell it ends up being. It seeps into the wood just from the smoke cakes.
Yep,
And then
yep.
if it's hit with enough heat, the heat will then release a bit of it into the atmosphere, allowing you to smell something that hasn't taken place in that house for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Or it could be a spooky fucking ghost walking around with a ghost cigarette, a ghost Newport, mentholated. Oh, he's watching you poop, he's watching you eat, he's watching you sleep.
Screw the rational. I'm all about a smoking ghost.
Yeah, is he from Brooklyn too?
And all you can see is the embers of a ghostly, the British word for cigarette, in the night.
Oh, anyways.
So,
Well, we're getting canceled.
yeah, we're canceled.
We're not even out yet, and we're getting canceled.
I'm not British.
Fool me.
Yeah.
So where do you stand on ghosts, John? I'm curious.
Oh, well, so I think I'm inherently skeptical of just about everything, including ghosts. So, barring any like actual physical evidence, having actually seeing a ghost, I don't know if I can believe it. That being said, I do think that I had a couple of ghostly encounters.
Oh boy.
Living in New England, sort of a lot of haunted places. Like we would go to haunted places in high school and shit. There's like this. I grew up in Coventry, Rhode Island, so there's like Nellie's grave, which is in like West Greenwich. It's like a vampire grave, and so there's stuff like that. But I never really like necessarily thought that was like haunted or anything. I just was having fun as a kid. But
Yeah.
one of the I spent 8 days on Block Island. You guys know where Block Island is. Shooting a movie, and Block Island, a lot of old history throughout. It's just like an island off the coast of Rhode Island, like 13 miles off the coast. And we shot this movie, basically all the interiors in this one hotel and all the exteriors outside of this other hotel. Basically, one was playing the exteriors, the other was playing the interiors. and I believe that I saw a ghost at one of, so the Spring House was one of them that we were shooting at. Mm-hmm. We were outside shooting like exteriors at night, looking up at this building, and we thought we saw someone in the window upstairs. And we had access to the hotel, so we went inside and we like looked up. Me and like 2 or 3 other people went upstairs and saw that there was no one up there, nor was there like anything in the window or anything. So we went back down, and then someone ended up taking a picture of the hotel, and like the next day they put the picture on their computer, and it looked like there was a ghost in the window, like 100%. You know, of course they could have photoshopped something, but they were fully like, there was a ghost. You know, they were one of the people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us sort of saw this ghost or saw someone moving up in this window. I don't necessarily know the history of this hotel, but it's very easy to find there are a lot of ghost stories on Block Island. So that was a little bit more secondhand as far as the second story is concerned. So the other hotel we were in was the National Hotel. And so on this movie, I was the boom operator. And this is something that I've never done again, nor, you know, it's not really. But for that instance, I was like trying to make sure things were quiet. And during a couple takes, there was a phone ringing. And this phone was like in like a little office in the front of the hotel. And it was just hardline to inside the hotel, but it was like plugged in. So someone could have been calling from another room or whatever. So the phone is ringing during the takes, and I go to check the phone, and I pick it up, and there's no one there or whatever. So I unplug the phone, go into the other room, shoot, the phone starts ringing. And so like I unplugged the phone, you know? I'm very sure that I unplugged the phone. The phone continued to ring. It was not hardline to anything. You could say that like someone, you know, the skeptical side of me wants to say like maybe someone was like playing a thing on their phone that sounded but it sounded exactly the same as before. So it would have had to have been like this like ongoing bit, you know? That phone rang. I was like listening to it in headphones while holding a microphone, and then I would go into the other room. The phone would still be unplugged. You know what I mean? So, and there were like doors we would prop open at night. Like we'd be shooting in the rooms the next day, so we'd like leave lights set up and stuff. There was no one there. It was like marked. There's no one on this island that time of year. It's very much just the people that live there, and it's a dead place. In the middle of summer, it's hopping. You know, it's like fucking scene out of Jaws or whatever. We would prop open doors because we would be shooting there, and the doors would be shut the next day, and there'd be no one else that was around or anything like that. So that makes me believe in ghosts a lot more. But I don't know. I don't know, because I feel like it's just in my nature to like make an excuse for what it was, which is, you know, skeptical in nature. So yes and no, I guess.
I would say that's a pretty legit experience. It sounds like you came in contact with something.
Yeah,
something creepy. Unless someone was just straight up fucking with you the whole
time. Yeah, but like, you know, there weren't that many people in the hotel. Like, we were all working closely. We were all like, I mean, sure, I didn't know everyone that well. There could have been anyone could have been pulling our leg, but there were a lot of us that were like, no, this place is creepy. It's very creepy and it's scary, and like that's why we sort of shot there. You know, we were working on a horror movie, so it worked. You know.
Yeah.
I like that creepy feeling though. I like being somewhere strange and gross and weird and just being uneasy.
Yeah.
Does that make me a psychopath?
I don't think so. I don't think that's one of the traits that's listed in the medical dictionary that they have.
The other thing is I bring bodies there that I slaughter.
All right, that might make you a psychopath.
All right. Should we leave that in? Do you want us to edit that out, or?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Well, no, it depends, because it might make you a patriot depending on who the bodies are, right?
True.
Hard truths. What justifies one? What justifies one murder and not another? Let's ask the spooky ghosts.
Spooky ghoul. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I stand.
Mike, you all right?
It's coming in choppy.
Yeah, Mike's still, but he's doing the robot. I see.
Okay, yep. He's working on my end now too.
Good.
Very cool.
Yeah, what about you, Mitch or Mike? Have you guys had any cool ghost experiences?
Not necessarily confirmed ghost, but there have been 3 instances in my life where I've experienced something that I genuinely couldn't explain. One of them is a story that I told Mike and John at the Cryptozoology Museum. Another one is a little too personal that I don't like to tell. And then this third one is, I guess, my possible ghost story. So, did any of you guys go to Rhode Island College?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So John can kind of be a frame of reference here as far as like what things look like. So,
Yeah.
John,
dropped out. I dropped out around.
okay, but you at least remember like the multiple halls to a degree, right? Like
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So like on Rick on the quad, right? There's
Hell yeah. Quad playing frisbee. Yep.
Yep. So there's like, in the back there's Craig Lee, and then there's Whipple and all these other halls, right? One of them is named Gage Hall. And now
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and now they've since remodeled Gage Hall. They like renovated it, like knocked a bunch of it down and like rebuilt it and stuff like that since this story has taken place. But when I was still going to Rick, Gage Hall was one of the oldest of the buildings on campus, right? So the origin to this story, first of all, starts with me attending Japanese class in a different building. And when I was in Japanese, I had one of the guys that I used to sit with was a history student, and Gage Hall was one of the history buildings. And he was telling me about a summer job that he worked once in Gage Hall, where his job was to like reorganize file cabinets and stuff like that. And he was telling me about how he could have sworn the building was haunted, right? Because he would tell me like all the time, like I'd be opening file cabinets, shifting through them, and then like the cabinet like behind me would open, and I'd be like,
Nanda?
yeah. I was like, what? So that kind of sets the seed in my head for the skeptical explanation of what I saw. So fast forward now, right? So because Gage could be haunted, or it could just be like, I'm assuming Gage is haunted, therefore my experience was a ghost, right? So fast forward now, it's like the last year that the last year or the year before that I'm at Rick. I can't quite remember. But I'm with a friend of mine. He's a longtime friend of mine. His name is Tom. I've been going to school with him since middle school, right? And we're both film students. And he has to make a short film, and I'm helping him out. And it's about 8 o'clock at night at Rick. Classes are pretty much done because it's a Saturday, right? So we're scouting out Gage Hall because he's trying to find a location to shoot for the next day, to shoot a scene, right? We need a scene with like a computer, like a setup with like a computer lab, right? So we're in Gage Hall. All the lights are off, right? All the classroom lights are off. To the point that we're using our phones. Like the doors were unlocked, so it was like still okay to go in, but like we had to use like our phones as light, right? While we're walking around. So we're walking around, and the way the hall is shaped, it's kind of got like a stairwell here and a stairwell here, and it forms like a U, right? So like you'd be going around. So we're making our way. We come up the stairs. We're turning the corner. We're just having casual conversation at the same time. I'm joking around with my buddy, and then we turned the corner, and there's a door to a classroom, and it's one of those doors that has like the wooden frame, but the glass panel that you can see inside, like the entire door is glass panel. And right up against the panel, I'll never forget this guy's face. He looked like he must have been in probably his late 60s, early 70s, clean shaven. Skin was like white as snow, stark white hair, dressed in a white dress shirt, black pants, right? He had a black tie on, right? He had I can even picture like his face perfectly. Like his brows were furrowed. He was standing kind of like this, right up against the glass pane, right? But like he was glaring. No, like he had like his forehead like against his arm, almost like he looked as if he was like morbidly depressed, right? So, but the thing is, like, he wasn't like looking down like, oh, I'm sad. He was like glaring at us as we walked by, which was freaky, right? So, I don't know if that was just a depressed professor that I saw in Gage Hall that day, where it's standing in a pitch black room, in a pitch black hallway, leaning up against the door, glaring at us as we walked by, or if I saw a ghost. However, I have looked multiple times because you can see the entire faculty of Rick on the website. I have looked multiple times for that guy, have never been able to find him. So, if by any chance, if you were not a ghost and you're a real professor and you're listening to this podcast, hi, how you doing? I hope you remember me. You gave me one of the most startling experiences of my life. Thank you.
Now, does the outfit and the age lead you to believe that was a professor? Or could it have were there 60-year-old students?
Well, there could have been a 60, but I don't know. The way I look at it is all the factors leading up to it, right? It could be a student, but what's a student doing at 8 o'clock at night in a dark room in a dark hallway leaning up against the glass pane? It would make more sense if he was a professor, right? Because you could make an argument like, well, that's the room that he does a lecture in or whatever, right? But even then, number one, what's he doing there? Why is he standing in a dark room in a pitch black hallway where no one's around? There's not a class in sight. Classes are done for the day, right? As far as the fact he was dressed up makes me more inclined to think like, well, maybe he's a professor, right? Now, to add even more caveats to the story, I've heard other ghost stories about Rick from other people while I was going there about different things. Like, apparently, there's an urban legend about, one of the girls' dorms is haunted, right? And there's, a girl who, rides in the elevator. You don't see her, but, the elevator will just, open on its own and, go up floors on its own, right? But at the same time, it could just be the elevator's fucking busted. You don't really know, right?
Yeah, that school, could be busted.
Yeah.
Arguably scarier than a ghost. Severe electrical problems.
But,
at a state college.
But, yeah, I've heard multiple stories of, people like, oh, I heard something creepy once while I was here late, one night, or stuff like that. Now, like I said, they've since renovated Gage Hall, so it looks completely different on the inside and outside of how it used to be. So the sad thing is, even if we went back to Gage Hall, I couldn't take you to where I saw the ghost, the potential ghost, right? So I hope he's doing okay, because I hope his home didn't get destroyed when they did that, because that would make me feel bad. Right?
Or he got an upgrade.
Or he could have a nicer classroom right now. But
he might be a happy ghost now.
Right? But also the thing that makes me wonder, well, could he have not been a ghost, right? Going in that side of the field is also the fact that I've tried looking has anyone ever died in Gage Hall on Rick? And, you don't get many Google search results for that. So, as far as I know, I don't know. And that was the part that scared the crap out of me. And my friend saw it too, right?
Okay. That was the question I had.
Yeah. So he saw it too, right?
Okay.
And even he admits that he says he doesn't think it was a ghost, but he's a lot more skeptical than me about this stuff, right? But even he said that it scared the fuck out of him, and it startled the fuck out of him too. Right.
So I might have missed it. Did you say what happened in the immediacy of seeing? Did you guys scream and run out of there?
No. So we're walking the entire time. We walk past the room, and granted, the sighting was probably a second, right? But it's one of those. That's how you know it's an impactful thing, because in that second, that 1 second, I can replay it perfectly in my mind from what this guy was wearing, to what he looked like, to his position, to how he was standing, to, I know that I was on the right side and Tom was on the left side, and so I was the side closest to the door because the door was on my right side as we were walking up the hallway. So it spooked me. So to finally answer your question, we're walking, see the ghost, right? It's something we both see, stops our conversation completely. We don't stop walking, so we keep walking, and the stairwell is right there. So, interestingly, instead of going to the next floor, because remember, we're looking for a shooting location for this short film that he has to make for class, right? Instead of going to like the next floor to see if there's anything on the next floor, we both went down the floor and left the building and went somewhere else. So, I think that goes without saying that we were both a little perturbed by it.
Fair enough. It's
pretty
Sounds like
interesting.
a pretty genuine experience.
So that's my potential ghost story.
Now, Mitch, just one quick follow-up question.
What's up?
You said you've looked at like current professors and stuff. Have you gone back to see if like there are any professors that looked like that, maybe in like the 90s or 80s or 70s?
I never
or
did.
anything
That's
like
actually the first. I'm upset that I never had that idea, right? Because
that?
that's
God
a really
forbid I had a better idea.
no.
than you.
I'm saying that's a really good idea, and I wish I thought of that earlier. So
But I'm like, let's do some research because to me, this guy looks like Doc Brown almost.
yes, not nearly as crazy here though. His hair
Okay.
was more of like a comb over type of thing.
Okay.
Right? It was
Yep.
shorter, bit of a comb over. It had like that, like those old timey, like they used to do like the little curl in the front.
Sure, little Superman curl.
Yeah, exactly. It had like
Sure.
it had that
Mike's
kind
got
of
it
look,
going.
right?
Yeah, Mike's
His
doing it.
hair was parted down the
Swinging.
middle. It was parted to the right, right? See,
Oh,
I
wow.
remember this all so vividly.
Yeah.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, I'm not usually the type of person to remember detail this vividly, but for this particular instance, I remember it all so vividly. So, I'm curious if I was to go and look at past Rick professors, if I would find someone who looked like that, who didn't
let's
work
do
there
some
anymore.
digging.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm actually going to do that when I get a chance.
Some homework for the next episode.
Yeah.
We can have a little throwback. That's
Ghost
crazy.
ghost follow up.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
cool story.
You also Google if any older students were kicked out of school for using the computer lab to look at Chatterbait after hours. This guy's got a hot date planned. He's
How do you
waited
know he was
all
using?
day.
How do you know he was using Chatterbait and not My Free Cams?
I don't.
Yeah.
Or Cam
That's,
Soda.
you're gonna,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
have
or
to
any of
dig.
the other million cam sites that we're all ashamed to admit that we know
But-
the names of.
I'm trying to think that if I was all dressed up in a computer lab with the lights off, what my motivation would have been and why I would have been angry at two kids with flashlights walking through after I waited all day for everyone to leave so I could meet up with. I'm not even going to make up a name.
Yeah.
Crown Princess 4922.
I was going to go like a stripper. Yeah, I was going to go stripper name, but it was useless.
Crystal.
Sapphire, Jasmine.
Yeah, any gem.
But it's way better if it would have been like Candy GURL 6920.
Yeah.
6920. Like the 20 makes it unique, you know.
Yeah.
I'm different because
6919 was taken.
Maybe he was a
Exactly.
ghost and he was trying to get his rocks off.
Yeah,
And you
maybe.
spooked him and it was the other way around.
It could be.
Yeah, you never know. What about you, Mike? You have any experience?
Well, you guys already know this about me. Number one, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
You
Number
know that.
two,
And Bustin makes you feel good.
Bustin' makes me feel good. And three, like Foxy Mulder, I want to believe. And like I do, but I have no personal experience. So outside of personal experience, it's like, yeah, I believe that space is up there, but I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
I can't testify in court
Yeah, that's fair.
about that.
Did you ever have a story that affected you growing up though? That someone told you? Of like an experience or a ghost story or anything like that?
No, I mean, I always liked spooky stuff, like those scary stories to tell in the dark. When we were looking up stuff for this, because I'm the only guy who didn't have an experience myself, I was reading into the vanishing hitchhiker stories, which was always my favorite. You know, you'd always hope that, like, you're driving home, especially right after you got your license at, like, 16, 17, you'd be driving home and there'd be some, like, wispy hitchhiker that you pick up and you'd have some kind of adventure. But
Or a hooker.
wispy hitchhiker, go either way. But I never had anything happen to that degree. Like, I've had, like, very interesting experiences that lead me to believe there's more than what we assume is real. But I never had anything like. Something I really like are the EVPs, the electric voice phenomenon. I was looking into those recently. I guess somebody was calling them transcommunication. The EVP is now known as instrumental transcommunication.
Wow.
So, but I mean that makes. So I think we have, especially traditionally, like when you hear ghosts, the first thing that pops in your head is like that, like ethereal, misty form of a person that used to be alive and is now dead, and like maybe they're demonic, which is like evil on some, so they're malicious, or maybe they're good, and they it's an ancestor that warn you of there's a lot of cultural things with humans that have attachment to that on some level.
Yeah.
I'm just smart enough where I can apply like low level science to my perception of things, but I take way too large of leaps to ever be smart enough to know what I'm talking about. So we're all run by energy. We all have low level electrical fields within our body that allow ourselves to move and our body to animate itself and us to perpetuate our lives.
Yeah.
The food, fuel in, poop goes out, and we can continue doing our bullshit day to day. So it's not that big of a leap for me to say like, oh, maybe there are energetic fields that we're not aware of that can cause these things. Like ball lightning is a phenomenon that science, as far as I know, has said like, yeah, that's a real thing, but we don't really know how or why it happens. So just the fact that the establishment, that so many people will point with their skepticism and go like, this is what we go by. If it's not repeatable and testable, it doesn't exist. Just for that establishment, that structure to have like well, we don't know. Like, well, if you don't know that, there's going to be a bunch of other stuff that you don't know that you're not even aware of. And for me, it's too easy to just go, this is it, and there's nothing else. And I don't like doing that. And whether or not there's another dimension where these beings are moving in and out of, and they're manifesting in the computer lab to you after dark, or they're messing with the phone on Block Island, or they're dying in Jarvis's basement, that doesn't have to exist in order for you guys to have those experiences. It's like, I believe you guys are all my friends. Those things I truly believe happen to you. It's just a matter of how they occurred, right? And if I was colorblind and you guys were all trying to describe to me what red was, my experience would be like, there's no such fucking thing. What are you guys talking about? It's like I can do all these personal experiments that are going to lead me to the result. You guys are making this shit up. And why you're doing that, I don't know. Like, why are you fucking with me? But it's just the limits of my personal experience that don't let me share that with you. So because that is my experience, I'm like, well, yeah, there could be remnants, there could be energetic imprints of people, there could be some kind of wavelength where the stuff we put out there or conversation we had gets kind of stuck and looped, or you're able, maybe time is working different at a certain point, or even if you're hearing a voice that no one else can hear, you're still hearing it. So what makes it real? Like that's the shit that really tickles my fancy, and that like that's why I'm allowed to indulge in all these weird like paranormal things. Because
you kind of touched upon like the law of conservation of energy, where it can't be created or destroyed. It's like, if we are energy, where do we go once our bodies, our husk dies? Like that energy has to go somewhere. We can't just destroy it. So
I mean, we know where the organic energy goes, right?
Yeah.
But like, where does everything else go?
Whatever electric glue is keeping us together.
Exactly.
Ooh, electric glue. Sounds like
and then like, how does it happen?
Could be.
How does the phone start ringing? How does the door get shut? If you've eliminated every other possibility and you're left with an unknown, well, that means there are other possibilities you're not aware of. And it's just keep
Right.
going in that direction. That doesn't mean it's like
Right.
Casper, the friendly ghost, you're going to be playing kickball with him. But
Yeah.
it means that there's a bunch of stuff that we don't know or understand yet. And that, to me, is very, very exciting.
There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, and I think
There's a
people,
whole
we have a
universe of
tendency... We have a tendency to forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what all this stuff gets shut down.
I
you know,
think-
and then
yeah.
also...
Oh, you first. You finish.
No, it's people that do have personal issues that will make shit up just for attention, you know, or misinterpret events, you know, and then that can very quickly muddy the waters. But there's enough unexplainable things that feel real that I think warrant more investigation, and it's just not a lot of people with credibility are putting the time in. And like, why would they? Because if, you know, everyone whose respect you want aren't going to give you the time of day for doing the work, why bother doing the work?
So what I was just gonna say was, pivoting off of you, was I feel like people nowadays, because we live in such an age where surface level information on a lot of subjects is available very, very easily, right? I think people lose sight of the fact that there is still so much about the world and the universe and physics and biology and everything that we still don't know, right? So I feel like now more than ever, you see this attitude of like, well, we know everything at this point. There's not really that much left to find out. Where it seems like it proves like that age-old saying true, where it's like the more you know, the less you know. Because it seems like as we find out more and more with science about the possible different things out there, it opens up whole new cans of worms of like, well, now that we know how this works, well, here's these 17 other things that we've never even thought about before that we don't know how it works. And, this, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's just interesting that the cultural level of understanding has taken that approach in this day and age, where I think it's the wrong approach in a lot of ways when it comes to any of this kind of stuff, whether it be ghosts or aliens or cryptozoology or any of that stuff, right? So,
Well, there's definitely a problem with anti-science going on right now too.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
we know, the Earth is a globe, yet there are a lot of people out there that still think it's flat, and it's kind of.
well, hold on there, Jarvis. I'm going to hit you with a very compelling argument for it. Are you ready for this? So,
Here we go.
if I take a piece of paper and I put it around the ball, is the paper still flat?
No, it's not. It's wrapped around the ball. Well, I mean, it's
Wouldn't that-
flat if you pull it
It's
back
curved
out.
now.
Yes,
Yeah, you're
but the
curving it around
paper
the globe.
itself is still flat. It's just
So-
curved.
Are you
laid
one of
out.
those? Are you one of those flat crusters?
Yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah,
the
I'm
crust
saying
is
that
flat,
the-
but it's
the
around a
Earth might
sphere?
be round, but the Earth's crust is flat.
Flat cruster.
The Earth's crust is flat.
The Earth's crust is flat. Prove me wrong. You literally can't.
Anything's flat if it's big enough and you're next to it.
Yeah. I'm just joking, but
So whack.
Okay, good.
yeah, I don't. I'm just being an asshole. But
I was like,
I mean,
shit, we got a Kyrie Irving.
I
in
have
here.
Yeah,
I have
awful.
no problem with that because I don't do anything that would damage me by being wrong. Right? So the dangerous part, like me as an individual citizen that just plays grab ass every off Thursday, I'm not going to put anybody in danger if I have that belief, right?
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
believe the Earth's flat, nothing changes.
Yeah.
You know, like
But it's when you start to try to convince the masses, that's when it's a problem.
yeah. Or if I'm responsible for getting someone safely from point A to point B, and I have to plot a flight path or do some kind of like mathematical
Yeah.
calculation that requires the number for the circumference of the planet to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put in a bullshit. I go to 0 instead of like a inclination
Curvature,
declination number.
yeah.
Yeah. Then like people die. Then it becomes an issue. And I
Yeah.
think it's just rigidity on both sides of the argument. I think that like science educators and the people that are doing the work and proving these things have to be more open to the crazy bullshit ideas. Because as someone who has been friends with and held crazy bullshit ideas for most of my life, by denying those, you immediately end the conversation.
Yeah.
So you have to bring someone in, at the very least, make them feel comfortable with sharing this garbage to you. It's one of my closest friends growing up. His father is like a highly revered machine engineer and like an instructor, and he's developed a bunch of stuff for the Navy. And I've had internet access since the age of 12. And I used to go over my buddy's house, and any of the crazy bullshit I would read, I would bring to his dad. And his dad would get so pissed. Like, one of my favorites, there was a hollow earth theory where Admiral Byrd on his expedition, he went to the Antarctic and then he found the hole that goes, and there's a whole other civilization. So I would be up all night reading this stuff on the early days of the net, America Online and before. And then I would go to my buddy's house and then be like, hey, Mr. Fisher, do you ever hear about this? And then you could just see his like brain starting to crack as I'm telling, like, he's a Swiss guy, so he'd be like, where did you hear? Who told you this? Very upset. Luckily, you know, like I kind of worked my way out of it, and then at a certain point it got like funny to me to be telling him crazy stuff. But there are a lot of people where it never gets to the funny part, and that's all they do. And if you hold this as truth, and then you bring it to somebody who knows better, and they just kind of stonewall or even attack you, even if your idea is wrong, you're not going to respond to that with growth.
No.
That never happens. So it's like you need to welcome these people in, and I think that's why we're at the point that we're at, is because there's so much wrong information out there.
Yes.
And the people that you would want to confide in to kind of help you maybe get to the right answer laugh at you or call you stupid, or, you know, as soon as you're hit with that whether it's flat earth stuff, whether it's vaccinations, whether it's, you know, like fan fiction, you know?
Yeah.
It's like people react that way with sports teams.
Oh, yeah,
It's like it's a very human thing, and I think there needs to be like more of a friendly, inclusive, like, oh, all right, yeah, I've heard of that idea. Here are the reasons why I don't believe it. You know? And then you're allowed to walk away with that, but at the very least, you've heard someone else's idea now. And then hopefully, you know, you hear enough of the correct idea, and you want to test it, like that guy that built the rocket to go see if the Earth was flat.
Rest in
you know?
peace.
It's like, but that's great, and that should be encouraged. You know, if you're a scientist who knows the right thing, and you have all these people with these wackadoo ideas, be like, hell yeah, man, I love rockets. Build a rocket. I'll go there with you that day. If you have any questions, I'll help you. You know, it's like, and that's the kind of response I think that people need to have with each other. Like
Instead, it's just butting of heads.
And this is where we're at. And we're going to be stuck indoors or in masks in perpetuity now because of this situation. So what we didn't work to get us here. So it's time to try something else. And if that's like spooky ghosts and Patrick Swayze,
I think ghosts should take over the world.
Let's try
It's
it.
time.
Be nice.
Yeah, I'd be into it. I'd be into busting ghosts.
What about Ouija boards? I've heard scary stories about Ouija boards.
I don't have any experience with a Ouija board.
Like summon ghosts.
Yeah, me either.
Or seance. Anyone ever done a seance?
Well, I've used Ouija boards when I was younger, with friends and relatives, and I've had some weird stuff happen that, like, but it's one of those things where, like, you don't know for sure if, like, somebody was fucking around with everybody else or any of those things. But to this day, I have a Ouija board in my house that's like one of those store-bought, you know, like toy Ouija boards that you used to get at like KB Toys and shit. That comes in like the purple box and everything. It's got like the glow in the dark, whatever that thing's called, planchette, I think it's called. Something like that. The thing that
Like
you move.
the eye?
Yeah. It's like it like glows in the dark. It's like they make it for a toy for kids.
Hasbro made it.
Oh, is
Diamond
it a
Dallas
Hasbro
Poltergeist?
product?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so I still have one of those, and I'm never throwing it away because I'm terrified of the idea that, like, you hear these stories all the time, like they threw away the Ouija board, but it came back, right? And they found it in the cupboard again, right? So, like, when I ever move out of this house, this Ouija board's coming with the house. Like, whoever gets this house gets the Ouija board.
Oh, so it's married to the house, not to you necessarily.
Yeah, well, put it this way. If I ever go somewhere else and I know I didn't pack that Ouija board and it comes with me, then then I'm not an ultra religious guy, but I think I might have to go take up religion somewhere. Whether I go get an exorcist from the Vatican or I go seek out like a Tibetan monk to like rid me of this evil spirit, because that's terrifying. Even if it is just a children's toy.
I'll come to your spot and burn some sage. I ain't scared. I want to use it. If the bubble expands, can we either A, use it, or B, destroy it for the show?
Okay.
And document. Look at this. Look at your eyes. I regret bringing it up.
What?
You're terrified. Just the idea, just the fact that I brought it up. You want to run in.
Shitless.
You want to run in the closet and cover the Blanchette and be like, he didn't mean it. I'll never let him do it.
I'll never let him take you, you beautiful purple box.
Please don't hurt me. But
I'd
that
love
growing
to see
up,
just
that
fly
was
across the room right now.
that was always the device that was the connection to whatever the other world is, whatever that ghost world is. You know, think about bacteria, right? Like that. People didn't think but people didn't think that's like another world, right? An internal world, a micro world that we can't see with our eyes or experience with our senses.
Mm-hmm.
And it was thought to be bullshit the first X amount of years people were even saying it might be possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just testable. So my next giant leap is maybe there's a whole energetic environment that we're not aware of yet. We just don't have the tools created to test it.
Sure.
But they have.
We don't even know about.
When we were talking about Bigfoot for the first episode, one of the things I think Mitch brought up was that sub-audible rumble that some tigers
Infrasound.
and different species of big infrasound.
Yeah.
So that's something that we can't tell, we can't detect with our senses, but it has an effect, a tangible effect on the human system.
Yeah.
UV light too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
UV light. It affects us.
Yeah.
We can't see it.
So I'm just saying that as our technology improves, the things that we can perceive via tools and technology increases, and why wouldn't there be another spectrum? You know, there's infrasound, ultrasound, UV light, higher level lowers of like inside and outside the visibility and perception of humans.
Yeah, yeah.
So why couldn't there be something else, like a whole other energetic dimension that we just can't really measure yet? And every once in a while, because there are people that can hear at a higher range than others, you know, there's a spectrum of perception. So maybe the people that are having ghosts or supernatural experiences are just able to tune in to like radio waves. They're out there all the time. Unless you have the antenna tuned, you ain't picking up shit. But the classical station, the rap station, the talk radio, they're all right there.
Yeah.
And you just tune into different ones. So maybe different people can tune in to different parts
Good
of
analogy.
something that just exists all the way.
Yeah, that was.
And I think it's real.
I'm with you. I agree with that.
But what does that mean? Not much other than
Yeah, we don't know anything yet.
entertainment, enjoyment.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Interest.
Open-mindedness, you know?
And that's where we're at now.
Yeah, that's right.
As this podcast.
Right.
You know,
Getting our feet wet.
Yeah.
shutting the
Getting
lights
our
off in the
ghosts wet.
computer room.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should we all shut the lights off now and try to get? I mean, it's not dark enough outside, but
No, it's not.
Should Mitch get the Ouija board out?
This shit. We got to do a night show, a night episode. We got to
Okay.
do a Ouija board episode.
Yep.
We can do it at a unique location where I'll supply the Ouija board. You just go dead in your eyes when I bring this stuff up, Mitch.
Mitch, you do.
Are you saying a secret prayer? You just be like, I like these guys. I don't want to let them down, but I will fucking die before I
interrupting his
participate in
rosary.
any
He has
of
his
this
rosary beads
shit. He is-
just underneath the frame.
Yeah, he's just rubbing him
Yeah.
furiously.
Yeah.
He's not
got a
masturbating. He's rubbing
Buddhist
his rosary
mandala.
beads.
He's got a rosary beads. He's like that dude from the Mummy movie that had like,
Oh,
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Yes.
things.
Garlic.
It's fucking-
He's got it all.
Yes.
He's got salt around the bottom of his chair right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna hedge your bets, you might as well bet on all of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mitch's gamble.
Oh, I like that. I like that phrase. Yeah.
So-
Can I tell my Queen Mary story?
Please tell
Yeah,
it.
please.
Who-
I know
by all
you
means.
guys have all heard this before, but
This is when you used to do drag.
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
So
You-
Queen
AKA
Mary was
Queen
a drag
Mary.
club downtown. It was haunted. So yeah, maybe about I want to say 2008. My aunt and uncle, we went out to California to visit a cousin out there, and on the way home, we spent some days in Long Beach, where the Queen Mary is. And if you don't know what the Queen Mary is, it's a Titanic type ship that is landlocked. So they turned it into a hotel, and there's like a they give ghost tours, and it's known to be very haunted. So yeah, we went to go stay on it, and the guy I remember this because I actually spoke with my aunt and uncle last weekend. The guy who gave us our room was saying that the room we're taking is one of the most haunted on the ship, and I thought that was like a gag, like, oh, just do this to everybody just to get everyone
Sure.
worked up. So whatever, I don't think about it. We do the ghost tour. It was super silly. They just take you through like the boiler room and the abandoned pool and all the cool little. You get to see like the interior of the ship that you normally wouldn't see. So we go to the room. We're all like turning in for the night. And let me give you a brief layout of the room. You walk in through the main door. Right to the left was like another door that led into like a butler's pantry, which was like had a sink, it had a cot, and then it had like a dresser and a mirror and all that stuff. And then if you were to go straight in from that door, there was like another main room in the suite. It was just this big room with a big queen size bed in the middle, with like some portholes on the wall. Then if you were looking at the bed, you look to your left, there was another room behind a door, and that was like the main suite, where like the master bedroom was. It was a pretty big room. It was crazy. And so I was in that room, the butler's room right to the left. This tiny little room. I want to say it was maybe like 8 by 8. It was like a small room. And then my two cousins were with me. They stayed in the room with the queen bed, and then my aunt and uncle were in the main suite room. So we all go to bed. I close the door in that little room. It's pitch black. There's like there's one little light bulb that lights the whole room, and I go to bed, and out of nowhere, this like high pitched screeching starts going off in my room, and I'm fucking. Middle of the night, I'm like completely out of it. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm scrambling around trying to look through the dark, trying to find out where the friggin' door is. I get out of the room, and I notice that screeching is only in the room I'm in. And I couldn't figure it out. So I went and I woke up my aunt and uncle, and they're starting to freak out because they're like, "Is this a smoke detector? Like, is the place on fire? Why is it only in this room?" So we go back into the little butler pantry. And we reach up, and there's a smoke detector on the ceiling, and we go to pull it down, and there's nothing connected to it, no batteries, but it's beeping. That is where the beeping is coming from, the screech. It was almost like when a battery dies in a smoke detector, it gives you that
Yep.
that
Yeah.
high-pitched sound. So yeah, it was coming from that, but there was no wiring, it wasn't hooked to any system, and there was no battery in it. And so we're like, fuck, is this, what the hell's going on? So we put the beeper, the smoke detector, out in the hallway, outside the main door to the room, and it just continues beeping the whole time. And we're just like, fuck this, we're not dealing with this. We closed the door, went to bed. I go back into the room, and I'm laying there, finally going back to sleep after a little, I calm myself down a little bit, and I go back into the room, and all of a sudden, that screeching is back in the room. And me and my uncle, we just looked at each other. We're like, we don't know where this is coming from. What the fuck is going on? As we're doing that, my cousin points over at the porthole window that's in the room. They're all sealed. You can't open them up. and they're flapping like there's a breeze coming in through the porthole windows. And we're looking around, we're like trying to find. There's no air conditioning. There's like a ceiling fan, but it wasn't on at the time. So we have no idea how this wind was moving around, and so my uncle ends up calling the maintenance guy. Maintenance guy comes down. He like cannot figure out why this thing's beeping. He ends up taking it away and leaving, and I just took my mattress out of that room and I dragged it into the main room and I just slept on the floor. Like I didn't want to be in that little room. I was so freaked out, and the screeching that was in that room we could not figure out. But once we closed the door, it was such like a sealed room that you couldn't hear it in the rest of the suite. But yeah, we just closed the door and I just went to bed, and the maintenance guy was like, I'll deal with it in the morning, and I just went to bed. To this day, I believe it was a ghost that was fucking with us that whole time. Especially, it was one thing if it was a smoke detector just beeping. Like, okay, that could be a malfunctioning machinery or whatever. But when the blinds started waving in the non-existent wind that was in the room, that's when it kind of like set everything in my brain going. I ended up not being able to sleep the rest of the night, and I just slept on the floor on my little twin mattress that I pulled out of the room. But from that day on, my aunt and uncle still make fun of me relentlessly for how spooked I got that night. But yeah, that was my ghost experience. And
What, Jarvis, you're afraid of some ghosts?
Yeah, they give me crap. They bring it up all the time. But they saw it. They saw the beeping. They could not explain the phenomenon either. So it's become like in my family, it's become this like ongoing joke. We always tell that story. Anytime the name Mary's brought up, or
Queen Mary,
yeah, anything, dude. It's always brought up.
Don't tell Jarvis. Oh, little Anthony's terrified.
Even
of
his
the devil.
family calls him Jarvis. I love it.
But dude, it was an experience, and I wholeheartedly believe that I had a ghost experience from that.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
I mean, that's like a historically haunted place.
Yeah. If you
And
Google
that's
Queen Mary,
interesting.
you can find tons of
Anything
stories.
that's historically haunted, like I hope when and if things get back to normal, we're able to go out and see things like that. You know, maybe not necessarily the Queen Mary because it's not that close,
West
but
Coast.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we
other
can get
things.
out there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know,
That'd be cool. Yeah, if you Google anything on the Queen Mary, you'll find tons of stories. I think
Yeah,
it was
tons.
a troop transport in World War II.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And they would bring bodies back on it. So that's one of the reasons why it's believed to be so haunted.
let the bodies hit the deck.
Oh my god! I almost sang it. But anyways, yeah. So that was my experience. That was
Love it.
Awesome.
That's
I
a
was
very
super into it.
common thing with ghost experiences, right? Hot, cold, especially the cold.
Yeah.
Temperature changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then electric interference.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Things
So,
that you
I
can't
mean,
necessarily see, right? Like,
Yeah.
but they're affecting the atmosphere in a way that you are witnessing it, but it's not necessarily like clear to the eye what is happening. So that is, that's
But I
like
mean,
a common trope.
So if you eliminate, so chances are that room was sealed. You're not going to have really airflow, especially that would
Sure.
cause the effect that you saw. But we know that static electricity is a real thing, and static electricity has a definite effect on fabric.
Yes.
So if just like ball lightning, and this is my dumb guy science, just like ball lightning can like roll through. Here's this electrical event that they don't really have a source for. There's some speculation of what caused, and it just rolls through an area. Maybe something similar can happen with, like ghost encounters. So you had some kind of electrical event within that metal container that's got all random sources of power, probably magnetism. The water's probably going to have effect on some level. Again, dumb guy science. It just rolls through your room, so then you have this ambient, even if it's just static, maybe at a certain point that we don't understand yet, static electricity can charge a capacitor or some shit in a old-timey, maybe it only works with a certain generation of smoke detectors,
Oh,
right?
all right.
Maybe there's some kind of wire and it's just enough if there's that high amount of ambient static electricity where it's kind of moving, the whatever's in the fabric is having an effect, so that's causing the flapping. And then as it works its way around the room, it hits that detector, and now there's just enough, maybe it's this old copper wiring, so it's more conductive than it should be, and then you can have these unknowable effects. And that's where me goes like, oh yeah, it doesn't have to be a dude in like with like no spooky Luigi ghost legs and an old butler outfit. You know, like it doesn't have to be that for it to still be a ghost, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Or like this crazy effect, you know, and that unless it's just trying to ruin your sleep.
Yeah, he'd just be a poltergeist. He just wants to wreak havoc.
Poltergeists
Yeah,
are
maybe that's the
a
only way to do
weird
it.
thing. So like, the thing about poltergeist is like the poltergeist isn't a spirit of like a deceased thing or anything like that. Like if you actually like look into poltergeists and what they apparently are, apparently it's like negative energy that manifests around you because of you, right? So it's like, in a way, it's not even really like a ghost. It's like a psychic projection, in a way, which
Of
I
your
don't
own
know.
negative energy.
Exactly, right?
wild.
And the thing, what Mike is saying with, you know, how you could have something like that static electricity that's going around the room, like pinging certain things, and if it hits something just right, it does that. In a way, I wonder if you kept going down that rabbit hole with science eventually over the next couple of 100 years, if that ended up being a true theory, right? And it turned into something testable and proven. If you could reach a conclusion about, you know, what a poltergeist actually is and stuff like that, of, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to think about.
There's a lot of the poltergeist stories that I've heard correlate with young, like adolescent girls.
Yes.
A lot of the stories that I've heard that have been like that's super interesting. There have been like adolescent girls, like preteen, and then you'll start having these crazy like phenomenon, and then you wonders like, are the kids making it up for attention? But then there's a lot of stuff is like, there's no way that this could have happened, or they were in a different part of the house when this crazy thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it can't be like two little girls couldn't have physically moved this object.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, there's that weird correlation that, like you said, would be some kind of like manifested energy. And like, who the hell knows how you get from one to the other?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's like, I certainly know that when I was going through puberty, there's plenty of things heavier than I should have been able to move that I'd fucking throw around. You know, like...
I was throwing stuff around, but
Right.
it's not appropriate to talk about.
Speaking of ectoplasm,
Oh, it's ectoplasm! Spooky cool.
but yeah, it just goes back to like definite human experiences that we are unable to quantify at this point in time.
Yeah, yeah.
But like somebody had the experience, and then other people around them had their own experiences based on that, and it's just odd enough where it's not cleanly explainable.
Yeah.
And then that opens the door.
Leaves
to,
the door. Yep, exactly. Right. Interpret it how you will. Yeah.
for now, because that's all you got until
Sure.
someone develops the fucking spectrometer that can see this stuff happening. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever seen any videos of, I don't know if it's capturable yet or just interpretive, but there are neat visualizations of magnetic fields. And if you've never
okay.
seen those, it's totally worth Googling. It's some of the most fascinating shit where, like, some of the ones I saw, it was like a lab, and then they had different polar magnets, and then they visualized it with different colors and different sizes of strings, so you could see, just like if you've ever seen a visualization of the Earth's magnetic field and how, like, the northern lights work. So it's like you can't, with your eyes, you can't see those waves, but that gives you a picture of something that you can't see that is definitely there. And then when you look at, like, a magnetic field, or, I mean, I'm sure there's visualizations now probably of Wi-Fi, which we're all bathing in right now, but we can't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then, like, what else that we don't have a measurement for,
Sure.
or we can't even guess yet, that we're just sitting in, and we have no clue. And then how do those things interact? Can they interact? Would they interact? And then what happens when they do? And then that's, I think, how you could run into all this crazy shit, like that thing flying through Mitch's cupboard into the back of his head.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Good for you, maybe.
Yeah, good for us. Comedy value.
We lost a good friend, but that was a great pod, huh?
Awesome.
So hell yeah, a lot of ghosts, a lot of fun stuff to talk about, more stuff to explore for sure. But ghosts will be a regular topic of discussion on the show, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's so many more avenues that we
Yeah.
can take.
Whether it's famous ghost
Especially-
stories or like,
Yeah.
oh, hey,
Especially-
this story isn't mine, but like somebody I know told me this story that happened to them, and I was like, hey, can I share this? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So, stuff like that, right?
And we also live in one of the most haunted places in America.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
true.
we got to get out.
Northeast.
We
Yep.
got to get out there. I want to
get
do
out.
EVPs. I want to take a ghost tour with you
Yep.
guys.
Yeah.
I want to go on one of
Love
the
it.
silly, spooky ones.
We have
I want
so
to
many
hold hands
around
in the
us.
dark. I want to
Yep.
drag Mitch kicking and screaming to a sane asylum in the middle of the night that's been abandoned for 30 years.
Oh, jeez.
We have some nearby. I
Yeah.
think they're still standing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm scared already by a normal ghost. You want to take me to a ghost that's a little off his rocker, Mike? Come on.
Yeah, that's the most action. You got to go to abandoned prisons.
I
As
want
my
to find
friend-
that Bruce Willis ghost.
Haley Joel Osment?
Oh.
No, the Sixth Sense.
Doesn't he play in a metal band? You know?
Who? Haley Joel
my
Osment
God.
or Bruce Willis?
Bruce.
Bruce.
I
Well,
miss you
it was.
guys.
I miss you
That
too.
got
It's fun
derailed.
getting silly.
Yeah.
It's fun
Yeah.
getting silly,
Good to see
talking
you guys.
fun, spooky things, and all of the above. Next
Middle of the
episode,
day.
who knows? What middle of the day? Yeah, it's a little bit more comforting.
Yeah.
But we got to go to graveyards. I want to
Yes.
record stuff at graveyards.
Yep.
I want to
Do
get
some tombstone.
I want to spend a half hour
shading
thinking that I
things.
caught something on tape, and you find out it's just Jarvis ripping a fart.
Hey, that could be a ghost.
I'm looking. Yeah, I'll be like, you guys, have you heard this? At the 32-minute point,
It's a ghost of chicken fingers or whatever.
and then
Yeah.
Well, I know after this show I'm gonna make a lot of ghosts.
the McRib is back. Ooh.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah. What do we want to do next?
I don't know. Do we want to talk about it on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. No, we gotta do the thing. Get people excited when they hear this in 6 months. Ready? All right.
So
Here's
we're
my idea.
gonna talk about.
What's your idea?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here's what
Yeah,
I'd like to do.
cut it in.
I want to pitch this. For the next episode,
Okay.
Mitch and I present the missing 411 cases.
Oh,
Okay.
I like
You want
this.
to you want to crack into that, buddy?
I like that
next
idea.
week?
I like that
You want
idea.
to crack into that? There's like
right.
6 books worth at this point, but I don't know that you guys have been introduced to it, so we can introduce you guys to this, and then
Looks like Jarvis is googling it. I don't know anything about it.
I am. I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I'm
is
interested. Yeah,
this-
let's do that. 411, missing 411.
the
Yeah.
sexiest, tragic,
This
very
does sound
tragic.
very
These are-
familiar. Maybe I do know.
These are
about
real
this.
people. I'm sure it's come up. 'cause
Yeah,
can't
I
stop
think we
talking
had a
about it.
conversation in passing
Yeah.
about it when we went to the Cryptozoology Museum. Me, you, and Mike.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like,
Maybe
Yeah,
the
very
most interesting case, like folder that I have encountered in my life so far.
Wow. So that's what we're gonna talk
The-
about next one.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah, so look
All
forward
right,
to
well,
it.
send us
I
the
like this
resources.
idea.
I'll do some reading.
Yeah, well, you don't need to do anything. Mitch and I will tell you guys.
yeah.
Okay.
And we'll just have questions and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I
All
want
right.
to. I'll skim the surface a little bit so I can have some good questions for you.
Well, there's a movie. I think it's on.
There is-
There's
movie, yeah.
two. There's
the
there's two. There's the 2 documentaries.
watch the second one.
Yeah, the first one's kind of poopy, but
Oh.
I mean, it's all right to kind of like inform you of the basic idea, but it just doesn't do a good job of getting any of the points across. And it comes off more as like they tried to do like a true crime like feel with it, but like the cases aren't
What-
really like, it's like the angle that it should have taken is not that at all, because it's really more about like the unexplained nature of these disappearances, not like a whodunit mystery, right? But the second documentary is Missing 411, The Hunted. That
Yeah,
one's
from
really good.
2019.
Yeah, that one came out very recently, so that's good. I greatly enjoyed that one. It's far better than the first
All
one.
right, sweet.
Yeah, it's got better
And they-
ratings
and
and
they-
stuff. So.
They don't really get into like the juiciest parts of the real cases in that second movie. So there's definitely, even if you watch that, there are still like avenues to go down that really
Cool.
like blow my mind.
That sounds
Sweet.
fun.
All
Hell
right.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
Nice little teaser. All right. So till next time. Bye.
Yeah.